How to knit the one-row buttonhole, English style. For this tutorial, you will need a pair of knitting needles. Special thanks to our sponsor Skicel for providing today's needles. Today, we are using their Addy Lace Interchangeable Clicks in the size 8. Special thanks to our sponsor Lion Brand for providing today's yarn, who are introducing their Bon Bon line, a collection of mini skeins of yarn that are perfect for your everyday craft needs and different types of color work. Today we are using yarn from their Brights colorway. The one-row buttonhole is a firm, strong buttonhole that is a little bit more complicated than other types of buttonholes, but it is convenient because it will work directly into your pattern without really interrupting it very much. Since it's only worked in the same row, you can continue your pattern on top of it and it won't mess it up. So let's show you how to do it. So once you've reached the place where you're going to start your buttonhole, which for us is going to be 11 stitches in, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, that's 12, 11. We're going to, for step 1, bring the yarn forward. For step 2, we're going to slip the next stitch purlwise. And step 3, we'll bring the yarn back. Then step 4, we're going to slip the next stitch off of our main needle purlwise. Now for step 5, we will slip the second stitch on our working needle over the first stitch. Now we're going to repeat the steps 4 and 5 for as many stitches as we are going to create for our button, and that will be determined by the size of your button. Generally you want the stitches to be about even to the size of your button. So you'll need to hold your button up and count how many stitches across your button is, and then that's how many stitches you'll bind off for your pattern. So here we're going to be doing 6 stitches. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then here's 6. And because we're just slipping these stitches and binding them off, this is going to be a very tight and durable edge that we've created here. So we did steps 4 and 5 to bind off our stitches. Now we're going to go to step 6, where we will slip that last stitch that was bound off back onto our main needle. So for step 7, we're going to turn our work around, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. We're going to use either the backwards loop cast on or the knitted cast on. So for this, I'm going to use the knitted on cast on, which is where you insert your needle into, and this is step 8, by the way. We're going to insert our needle, draw through, just as if we were knitting, and then slip that onto our needle. Okay? And we're going to do this for as many stitches as we bound off. So we'll be adding 6 stitches. And once we've added on our 6 stitches, we're going to add on 1 bonus stitch. Okay, so that should be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll add on 1 bonus stitch, so that's 7, and we can just let that sit. So step 9, we'll turn our work around again. Step 10, we're going to slip this stitch that was bound off onto our working needle. And step 11, we will slip this extra stitch that we cast on over that stitch. Okay, and then we will slip this back for step 12. Make sure we tighten that down, and we're going to knit it as normal for step 13. Okay, and then you'll just continue working in your pattern. So we've knitted a couple of rows after our buttonhole here, just so you can see what the finished product looks like. If you have any loose stitches, kind of like these here, then you can just knit or purl into the back loop to twist that stitch and cinch it a little bit tighter. And you can see here that there's actually a little bit of a gap, and that came from me not pulling tight enough on that first wrap stitch when I was casting on those additional stitches. So you want to make sure that you pull that really tight so you don't have that same issue. And you can see on this first buttonhole I did here that I didn't have that same problem really. I pulled that one real tight. You'll also notice that this edge here looks a little bit different. I used the cable cast on for this, which is very similar to the knitted cast on, but it's going to make an even more firm edge. You can see that that doesn't have hardly any stretch at all, whereas this one has a lot more stretch on it. And that's all a matter of personal taste, how you want it to look or how firm you want it to be. So that's how you knit the one-row buttonhole. After a few repeats, your pattern should look like this. Want more New Stitch a Day? Check out our website at newstitchaday.com.